We are now joined by Panthers Executive VP of Football Operations, Brandt Tilis. I want to flash back early 2000s. This Michael Lewis book came out, Moneyball.
Yeah.
You read it?
Yeah.
What impact did it have on you?
Massive impact. I was about 18 years old when I read it, and I found that there was this entire industry within sports that spoke to me. And I didn't play sports growing up at a high level, and I was not a good athlete even when I would play with my friends. So to see that I could work in sports and contribute in a meaningful way, was really important to me. And just some of the themes in the book about how there are very simple answers to complex problems. That was another eye-opening moment for me. So when the A's talk about, we focus on on-base percentage rather than batting average, it was like, well, that makes all the sense in the world, because you're just looking to see, did the guy get out or not, as opposed to did he get a hit. And so those are the kinds of things that I think about all the time, still to this day.
It was also one of those moments, too, where the people who are scared of Moneyball, who've never read it, view it's this catch-all boogeyman word for everything analytics. Should you go for it on fourth down or should you go for it too? But the underlying theme was find out what the market undervalues, which is, in a lot of ways, your job, isn't it?
Yeah, it is my job, and yeah, we still do that to an extent. I think the NFL as a whole has gotten really smart with markets and undervaluing and overvaluing things, and there's still little things here and there that you can gain on, but I think now it's really more about your process and making sure that everything that you're doing as an organization flows from the desire to win games and following the plan to win. To how are you going to win a game?
So we're at the combine where we're going to hear about hand size, arm length, 40 time. When the analytics look at that stuff and how it translates to performance, what's the correlation?
There's some. That's how I got involved in the college scouting process. Was I started looking at some of these numbers and seeing, okay, where are the exceptions here? What's likely to lead to success? What's likely to not lead to success? And there's a little bit, but again, the whole league has caught up to this stuff. So we're not finding players based on how fast they ran a 40 or did a short shuttle or having long arms or anything like that. And even now with the transfer portal, it's really hard to find small school players as well. Usually you used to be able to find small school guys who had great
now
workouts.
They all go up.
And now they're all up, right? Now they're all playing at big schools. So the numbers are important to an extent, really just to confirm what you already believe about a player. And there's little stuff that we do pick up on, but it's nothing that just old-fashioned scouting doesn't handle.
So when it comes to just player evaluation, how do you define your role?
Yeah, I don't know. That's a great question. Because I think I have an important voice in our process, but at the same time, I also don't feel like I do. It's not a great answer for your question there, but I really want the people who spent all year, our scouts, our scouting directors, our Dan, these people have spent all year watching these guys, and here I am parachuting in March and saying, well, look, our needs are here, right? Our strengths are here. This guy has these concerns. We really need to think about it. And so I think I just more poke and prod and make sure that we have enough tension to make a good, positive decision.
I like what you said about player when it comes to personnel needs versus like who's on the board and who's the best player. I remember we were sitting here last year and you said we want to get to a point where we're not really looking at positional needs and we can just go take the best player available. How close are you to that point as a franchise?
Oh, I think we're there.
You're there.
Now, our roster's not complete, but I would love for us to always be taking the best player available. And the interesting thing about the team building process is that when you're building your team in the early stages, like we've been, it's really easy to just go grab good players, grab a T-Mac, grab a Nick Scorton, get these really good players in the building. You know, sign a Trey Merrick, sign a Robert Hunt, a Damian Lewis, get all these great players in. Well, now we have a lot of these core pieces in place, so we need to, we're trying to fill in gaps, but it becomes a dangerous game if you just pick the best player available as players age out or as players get hurt, as we learned this year, right? Depth becomes very important. So you just can't have enough good players.
You have a certain expertise with the salary cap, with Bryce Young still on his rookie contract. Is there anything that is highlighted to you about managing the cap while the quarterback is still on that rookie deal?
Not really. There are certain benefits to it, right? Where like Bryce or any rookie quarterback for that matter has their contract and they're under contract for 4, maybe 5 years, and so that's a known thing, and so we're able to fit a lot of good players in around that contract. But at the same time, like a big part of my job, and I'm lucky to work with great people like Justin Davidoff, and we spend so much time on what does the future look like, right? So we're in 2026 now. What does 2027 look like? What does 2028 look like? And so, like, our window for Bryce's contract and our minds ended 2 years ago, because, like, while we were playing a season in 2025, Justin and I are constantly talking about what does 26 and 27 look like.
So you're on 28 and 29 now.
We'll get there, yeah. Yeah.
In regards to Bryce, right, you guys said you're going to pick up your fifth-year extension. How does that work in terms of deciding, okay, fifth-year extension versus an extension now, a fifth-year option versus an extension now or versus an extension down the road?
Yeah, we haven't had those conversations with Bryce and his agent yet, so there's a lot of evaluation that goes into whether or not to extend any player's contract.
Fair.
And so, we got to look at performance, at what the likely cost is going to be, how that fits into our plan, and then what the length of the contract is going to be. All of these things really come into play, and it's just making sure that all the pieces fit. And, like, we also have to be looking at, okay, what are our alternatives? So forget Bryce for a second. Not that we want to, but, like, just any player that we talk about an extension with, is it possible to replace that player in free agency this year or in the draft, or does that person already exist in our roster? And so, like, those are the questions that we ask ourselves constantly about every player.
Yeah, it goes back to, again, thinking further down the road than just in the moment. Part of that, too, and you mentioned this in another podcast that you did, you've got to be the guy at the end to sit and evaluate when you look back at a season. And the Panthers go to the playoffs, they host a wild card game, everybody got into it. You have to almost divorce that emotion and say, okay, what was real and where did chance take place? Let's start with real. When you kind of look back at this past season, what was real and tangible that you can build on?
Well, the realest thing and the whole of everything you just said was that atmosphere of our playoff game. So you want to talk about vibes? Like, that was –
it's a vibe.
That was special. And so, like, that's something that we need to hold on to and and make a point of pride for us and something to work back towards. But as far as the on-the-field stuff goes, one piece that we talk about a lot and that you hear Coach Canal say a lot about is staying balanced. So the more we can keep ourselves in low-leverage situations, in second and medium, third and short, the more stable we are going to be as a team. If we start getting ourselves into high-leverage situations where we're relying on third and longs, we're relying on touchdown returns, we're relying on like missed field goals, things like that. Now we're getting into more of the unstable, lucky stuff, and we got to stay out of there.
When you're here at the Combine and you're looking at players and you, Dan, and your team have these discussions, how important is age, the age of a player, especially in a world where Nick Scorton's a great example. You guys drafted him at 20, plays his rookie season at 21. He'll be a free agent at 25. You're going to have draft prospects who are 25 here.
Right. So Nick's a great example because you saw Nick at 21 get better as the season went on, and we have high hopes for him for not only next season but for the rest of his career because of the age and the ascension there. I think what you're also seeing with older players is they step in and they're contributing immediately. And there's something to be said for that. So do we get the long runway with the guy? You know, if you draft a guy at 25 and he's a free agent at 29, that's not ideal. But at the same time, if you get 4 really good years out of that player and he plays a premium position, like that is valuable. So I think age matters, and we certainly look at it. But the flip side of it isn't so negative either.
What about positional depth? If a certain draft is deeper at a certain position, how does that impact how you approach both free agency and the draft?
Yeah. You saw Dan really do a great job of that last year in the draft where he and the group identified that, okay, this draft is deep with edge guys. There aren't a lot of top-end receivers. Let's draft a receiver at 8, and then let's let the edge guys come to us at in the later rounds. And we had a great draft, and it was because of that strategy and Dan's insight into how the draft was going to unfold and where it was deep and where it was top heavy.
I'll end on this. You just said the words "great draft," right? How do the front office? How do you guys evaluate a draft? I know you're not doing the grades like USA Today the day after.
No, we're not doing that. But it's it's all right. Are the guys fitting into the culture? Are they enhancing us? Are they enhancing us on the field? I think all the players contributed meaningfully this year. So I think we don't sit there and say like, oh, we got an A on this draft or anything like that. Like it doesn't take a genius to know that we had a great draft though because we drafted the offensive rookie of the year. We drafted a starting edge rusher in Nick. We drafted a lot of other really interesting players who contributed for us, like Princely and Trevor and Cam Jackson and
Mitchell Evans
and Lathan and Jimmy Horn. And then we also had a great undrafted free agent class, right? We had our kicker, Ryan Fitzgerald, and we had Bam Martin Scott, and we had Corey Thornton, who we're really excited about. So there's just so much into that. It doesn't take a genius to know that we did great there. But how do we look at it? I don't know. You'll have to ask me in like 3 years.
So yeah, that's what I was waiting for. We just gotta wait. We just need a little patience, right?
It took me a while to get there.
No, it was good. Brandt Tilis, Panthers Executive VP, Football Ops. Thanks, Brandt.
Cool. Thanks, Anish.